Okay, this family presentation is brought to you by the narration of Barbara Ann Helm Stevens and
Carl Osborne Stevens Jr. This is our daughter, our first daughter, Deborah Ann Stevens. We're living over on a popular place in Walnut Park. This is our pride and joy. The car in the background was a hopped-up 49 Ford. He used to drag race it on the streets.
this is Debbie's wonderful swimming pool, as she was having a hard time getting in it, so I helped her get into her pool. And she has her little ducky, plastic rubber ducky there. And she's trying to get used to the water. It's in the front yard at 2519 Poplar Place. Now Debbie has just got her hair washed and ready for Sunday. And our movies will be either shot on Saturdays or Sundays, because that's when their dad, Carl, was able to do the photography. He purchased a camera, Bell & Howell, and bought it for Christmas for me. That was one of my Christmas presents, this Bell & Howell, because he really wanted to take pictures of the family as they grew up.
This is Grandpa not talking. I don't know if you noticed in the background there was an old lawnmower and the tub that she was bathing in. If you remember, in these days we didn't have wading pools that you bought down at the local store, and we didn't have motors on our lawnmower.
Okay, these two little girls are Bonnie May Helm, and Debbie, that is Debbie's Aunt Bonnie. And they're 9 months apart, and they had a lot of fun together, and it was like Christmas toys. We were visiting my mom, and that was her front door in Playa del Rey. I came out in my poodle dress. This is my little brother Rex with his new Christmas toy. It's a motorized car, and he's having fun with that. Debbie's got a surprise coming, and her little Jack in the Box. We love those. And this is my Rhonda May Stevens. She has arrived, and she's just about 6 months old there. This is my mom and my dad, Annie Helm and Harold Lloyd Helm. They're trying to think of something to do. They don't know what to do, so they're trying to walk that bear or something, give it action. That's my brother, Robert Harold Helm, and my brother, little Rex. And they're playing a little basketball there. And that's my husband in the background playing with the babies. And so tall and slender he was. And even myself, a little bit on the slender side there. We were enjoying a visit at Grandma Helm's. And here we are back at 2519 Poplar Place. And there comes my brother, Robert. He's going to church with us. This was a special day.
We're on our way to church on Sunday, and now I believe we're over at Grandma's house. For Sunday afternoon, we always had a tradition of going over there for dinner and what have you on Sundays. This is my father, Carl Osborne Stevens the First, and we are at their house at 6830 Newell Street in Huntington Park. That was my sister and her children that came out, with the exception of the boy, and we'll introduce them later. And Margie and Johnny is going by too fast. That was my mother waving goodbye. There's Janice's two girls, Janet and Charlene Hall. I don't know where Stan was at this particular time. There's Margie and my mother walking back up. This is Forrest, who belonged to Steve, who we haven't introduced to you yet. And this must be Easter Sunday in Grandma's backyard. Everybody's hunting for Easter eggs. Of course, you know who that is, as did Debbie.
This is Michael Malstead and Debbie, and they found an Easter egg. There's Janet Hall, and their dad, Stanley, isn't here at this time. They're still searching for Easter eggs at Laura and Carl Stevens' home. This is Gay and her husband. They had 5 or 6 children, and before they divorced. And Gay just did not want to have her picture taken. And there's her first little daughter, I don't remember their name. And this is Sherry Lynn, and there's Phyllis. She don't know what to do. Margie's coming along, and they're going to the Malstead family is going to the car.
This is Stephen Russell Saylor. That belongs to my sister. They're getting ready to go home. This is my sister, my oldest sister, Phyllis Saylor. This is one of her daughters, Sharon Saylor. I think that was her youngest daughter. Of course, we know who this is. This is, again, our second daughter, Rhonda. We're over at Salt Lake Park by Grandma's house. And then along comes my daughter from my first marriage, Laura Jean Stevens.
Hey, you will see that Rhonda has on her little necklace given to her by her Grandma Stevens, a family tradition. And there comes Debbie. Oops, and that was a hurt. That was hard ground. And so I wasn't sure she would go back again, but up she goes in her pretty little dress that Grandma had made her. And she's trying to get up on that ladder, and I'm hoping that she will let go, but I told her I would not let her fall and hurt herself. And now the children, with my brother Rex and Bonnie, are at they used to have little parks here and there, fairs, and they had these little go-arounds for them. There were times when we would pick Laura Jean up and go over and pick up my brother Rex and Bonnie so that the kids could all play together and have a good time, and that Laura would have a fun visit on her days to visit. And we often would stop at these little fair parks that had rides so that they could have a good time on their visit. And I often had Bonnie and Rex with us on our outings. So they were raised a lot with my two children there. And we had a lot of fun. Here goes Laura on the swings. And it was, as you can tell, a Sunday. Everybody's always dressed in their Sunday clothes. And you can see an old 57 there in the back, not old then. And this is a fun thing that they enjoyed doing. Had a lot of fun at these little parks.
These things were located that our kids are on. It was down, if I remember right, in the city of Compton in California. And this was basically our Disneyland of the days, because Disneyland was just being built at this time. Welcome to the opening house of the Los Angeles Temple, long waited for temple for the people in Los Angeles. As you can see the crowd there. Grandma and Grandpa, we were privileged to be able to work there, taking and guiding people through the temple before it was dedicated.
We attended this temple dedication with Grandma and Grandpa Stevens, and as you can see, it's the House of the Lord, Los Angeles Temple. This is Mother's Day traditional annual event at Uncle Rex's house, and there's my dad and family. That's Uncle Alton and Auntie Lane, and little cousins around there. There's Grandma Chloe, and Percy Gooch, and he's the son of Aunt Farrell there, Aunt Farrell Gooch, and there's Uncle Rex Gooch and Aunt Erla, that's his wife, and then I think that's Lloyd, and there's Don MacArthur, he's son of, and another brother, the son of Betty MacArthur, and there's Myrtle MacArthur, and there's Glenn MacArthur, and Deloy MacArthur, and there's Aunt Mary Louise. Those two were brothers. There's Uncle Bill, and there's Maudie Calbreth. She's a cousin of my dad. And there's her husband across from her is Jerry Calbreth, who is talking. And who is that? It's Percy Gooch again. They moved around a little bit as we were taking pictures. Oops, there goes Lloyd Helm across the lawn doing his gymnastics and from school. This is the brother of Douglas, and he is the son of Uncle Doug and Aunt Ida, and he's out on the front lawn of Uncle Rex's place practicing up. Grandma and Aunt Farrell opening up their Mother's Day presents. These two are sisters, and they are pals, and they are, when they get together, it is fun times. And Aunt Farrell don't know what to do with that. And there's my dad, and there's Percy Gooch again, and Deloy MacArthur again, enjoying the dinner. And as we spent our time here, it was a lot of fun for the family. There's Uncle Rex, he's our host of this event. And then over here at the side table again, there's Uncle Bill. He is quite a Dad's younger brother, and always a card too. He and Dad were quite a bit alike, and he always had to be a clown, doing something funny. There's Mom, and there's myself, and that's Annie and Barbara, and having a swinging time. And there's Uncle Bill leaving with his family. There's little Farrell. I forgot the other daughter and Aunt Mary Louise. They're taking off. Here comes Bill. Almost got left. And I guess there's still more and more to go. There's Sydney, the oldest, and a great little person she is. Well, Rex's, and which was in Bell, and Aunt Farrell and Uncle Aunt Farrell lived down the street from Uncle Rex. And here's Debbie, just plain coy. There's Grace Ann and her husband, Max, and Jerry Calbreth. These are cousins. And Aunt helped a lot. This is Grandma, again, Grandma Chloe, enjoying her congratulations from the family. She was, of course, a widow here at this time. And there's Aunt Ida Quick, there, and here we go off to Disneyland. Disneyland is the most wonderful place to take your family and your kids. And here's Laura Jean and Stephen, and they're going to do some drag racing. I don't believe they have this ride there still, do they? Utopia? So Laura was a very serious driver. You will notice that there's no monkey business here. She's just real serious about what's going on here. She wants to be a good driver.
See how quick she waved at us? Okay, here we are in a place called Calico Ghost Town. It's still up there today, but at the time that we visited, it was not taken over by Knott's Berry Farm, and it was still basically a ghost town. This is located out of Barstow, California, and of course here we are with the camera and the lighting. You got to remember, This is the first movie cameras that came out was in the 50s. And so we bought our little Bell and Howell, which we still have, but you can't buy film for it today. Of course, all ghost towns have a cemetery. And I don't know who that was. Was that you? I couldn't believe that was Barbara. These were the kind of inscriptions you'll find in most any ghost town. Knott's Berry Farm, taken over this quite a few years ago, has really made Calico Ghost Town into kind of a tourist trap today.
Happy birthday to our little girls, Rhonda and Debbie. My dad used to call her Rondi, so on her sign I put Rondi for my dad. Anyway, so it is their first and third birthday and party, and we had a nice crowd come. We had a big party, and there's little Rhonda. She certainly was having fun with the paper that day, and Debbie was just very anxious to get into those presents. And there goes Debbie and Rex and one of the twins and Debbie again, and Janet is there, and I don't know whether that's Ruthie or Julie. And Tina's right there in the background. She's a little neighbor girl that came down to play with us all the time. And Debbie's got to give her secret. And there goes the Ring of Rosie stuff. And that little girl in the red is Suzanne. That's Sherry Lynn's sister, her real sister. The girls were adopted from a family that didn't have a mommy, and we had lots of little ones there that day. Michael Malstead was not in the mood to play games. Grandma was trying to encourage him. Debbie blew out the candles, and this is the shot of the table from atop of the garage. I think Grandpa got up there to take pictures of the table and all the little kids, and there's little Suzanne down at the end. The lady on the right is a friend of ours. Her name was Frankie, and her little ones. And I don't remember who else that is, but there's Rhonda chewing on stuff. And there's Aunt Margie and Michael and Rex and pulling faces at us, the twins. And present time. And Debbie and Rhonda, you'll notice, are wearing their grandma necklaces. Their little heart necklaces from their Grandma Stevens. And their dresses were made also by Grandma Stevens. There's Sherry Lynn, adopted daughter of Marjorie. And there's Grandma Stevens trying to catch her. And there's Rhonda. Oh, she would rather chew paper than have presents. She's just like that. She's in that chewing mode. And Debbie had a little drawing board to put together. That's what all that is. And Janet's trying to help figure that out. Oh, backyard time. And here we are. It must be summer, and we've got Laura Jean on a Saturday visit, I think. And trying to cool off, playing the old sprinklers. And that's such a lovely backyard back there. This was a new thing for little Rhonda. She was just trying to chill out, but here comes her helpful sister, Debbie, with the hose. She's going to inaugurate her with the cold water. And so we gave her a little tub of water to splash in. She loved to splash in her bathtub, so here's a pail for her to splash in. And she's going da-da-da. And then her helpful little sister is going to fill up her bucket for her. Rhonda says, I think I'll leave now. I think I'll have a drink. splash. This was Rhonda's first splish splash in the backyard.
Oh, there's Grandma Whitman. This is over in Playa del Rey at Mom and Dad Helm's house. And as we go on here, you're going to find 4 generations here. That's Rex again, and of course Debbie in her hat that she always wore on Sundays to keep her hair curly. There's Rhonda playing in her splash pan with Bonnie looking on. This is in the backyard of Grandma and Grandpa Helm's house in Playa del Rey. And you can tell it's Grandma's house by the amount of flowers you see in the background. Did not look like my backyard. And there's Grandma Helms showering everybody down. Cool. There's Grandma Whitman there again. I believe that's Grandma Helm bending over. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 generations there. Rex is trying to get her. There's Mom. She wasn't in that picture.
Grandma Whitman came up for a visit, and Grandma Helm just lived down the street a little ways. And here we have little Rhonda taking her first steps. She's a little bit wobbly, but there she goes. And she is, we're over at Grandma Helm still, and Rex is pulling his girls. He had the most fun playing with these girls. He could not keep his hands off. He just had to be there, pushing them along and teasing them along, and never could leave them alone. But he was always so good with the girls, and he ended up having several girls of his own. Okay, this is a special time, our vacation in Balboa in 1956, and Laura is here on a little visit with us. And this is the bayside where the boats were all anchored. In between the boats, there were little swimming areas, and we had, this is Debbie, and she found a little playmate down there. And we would rent an apartment and stay for a week. There's little Rhonda in her jumper chair, and that's the biggest smile. Well, she had a good time. She didn't like the water the first day, but by the end of the day, by the end of the week, she was into it. This is Laura. She came on her visit, and of course, a little fish. She loved the water. And this is our little spot on the beach with our towel, and we had to get down there early to get your towel out if you wanted a place on the beach. And there's little Rhonda doing her rocking chair. She didn't need one. She just had one built in. Da, 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 she's saying as she bounces because she's getting a little tired. And she didn't like the water the first part of the week, but by the end of the week, she was into it. Down there in Balboa, they have the little, I believe they still have, did that all go? They used to have this little merry-go-round, and the kids just loved to go down there and play at the little entertainment center here for the kids at Balboa. And this is our favorite place to go, and we just had a good time there.
This part here, Grandma does not like to watch, because this is where I cut my feet off when Rhonda did this little trick, but it was not her fault. And in just a minute, You won't see the end of it, but you'll see her start to fall. Luckily, the people were on guard and they had the machine shut down. And I run straight across it, tearing their canvas and cutting my feet. Here we are on the beach. I'm not doing much now because my feet are cut. Balboa is also one of the places that Grandma and I spent our honeymoon at for a week. Remember how she did not like the water, and you can still she won't even put her feet in it, even though Grandma Barbara is trying to get her to do it. This was a typical day of spending a week at Balboa, was spending it loafing and playing on the beach. I don't know what she's saying to us, but it must have been something. Bonnie and Rex came down to spend a day with us. We had a lot of fun there. That's Rex having a lot of fun in the water. And there's Rex playing with the girls again as usual. Now look at that, we got her feet in the water finally. She still doesn't like it too well. She is smiling though. Here we are again, just having a lot of fun. Don't know who half those kids are, but they do have fun together, even though they don't know each other. My gosh, who's this bathing beauty? Is it Maureen O'Hara? At least that's what people used to call her when she was in high school. I don't know who that little guy was, but he had a load of water. Oh yeah, we even got to take a ride on a boat. We rented a motorboat and took the kids for a ride out in the Bay Area. You can see it's a lot of sail ships and a lot of boats out there. Balboa is a lot of fun. This is the skipper of the boat with my second mate there beside me. And there's a little head down there. You can just barely make it out. And of course that belongs to Rhonda. I don't know where Mom is. She must be sitting in the back seat taking the pictures. This, most of you people wouldn't know who James Cagney is, but this used to be his yacht, which was stationed down there. Kind of a old sailing type of a ship. Well, I thought maybe that was James Cagney, but it wasn't. If you don't know who James Cagney was, he was a movie star. Played in a lot of movies. I don't know who this one belonged to because I don't remember, but some famous person. Who knows? It might have been Howard Hughes or somebody like that. I think this is looking from the ocean side to Balboa Island. This is the main beach out in front. Nope, I'm sorry. No, this is the peninsula that goes down between there and the ocean. And you can see all the people that were really enjoying themselves. I think right here we're trying to take a picture of where we stayed when we was on our honeymoon in one of these places here along Balboa. on the peninsula side. And this old pavilion that you just seen in the background, you can't see it now, that's still there. And that's where the ferry used to dock and take you. But now they've moved the ferry down about a block.
Oh, there's my little Rhonda, and this is the end of the week, and look at her. She is splishing and splashing and having a ball in that cold water. She finally learned what it was all about, and she'd just splash and she'd go, it's cold. Splash, splash. She's cold. But she finally got to where she liked to have her little swim. There she goes, splish, splashing. So she learned what my kids like to play in the water, and that's what we do. We're water.
The ocean side of the beach is not a very good beach because it's too steep of a beach. As you can tell here, how fast the water comes up and how fast it goes back, and how the kids dig in. Okay, we're back. I think it's probably our last day at Balboa before we leave, and the kids are riding the merry-go-round. Oscar and Frankie Erickson came up to visit it. Oscar is an old friend of mine that we grew up on the same street together. Okay, Grandma and I are on a vacation, and I think we left the kids with Grandma Stevens, and we're on our way to Mammoth Lakes. I believe this was Tuolumne Lake, but I'm not positive. The road goes right by it, or it used to, as you went up over Tioga Pass. High Sierras was my favorite place to backpack in. I did a lot of backpacking. This part of it you can't see anymore if you take the Tioga Pass because they've rerouted it and they've even paved it. And this is what it used to look like, but you don't see this anymore. And this is really a climb, a very steep climb.